Hello, my name is Grie-er, and today we're going to take a look at some of the AdMech stuff that has been previewed, been teased just a little bit, just a light teasing from Games Workshop. So the AdMech Codex is the next one to come out. I should say Adeptus Mechanicus in case you're not sure what AdMech is. It's Adeptus Mechanicus, and it's the next codex to be dropped upon us from a great height. And so of course they're doing their little teasy preview bits. And so far we have the Forge World Dogmas for Mars and for Graia. I'm pretty sure it's Graia. G-R-A-I-A, which without the R would be Gaia, right? Yeah, it would. So I think it's Graia. You could, if you wanted to, download Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, quality game, proper quality game, and play that and see how they pronounce it, because I'm pretty sure Space Marine was in fact set on Graia. So that is one way to check the pronunciation. My way is to just say it, and then someone will probably correct me in the comments. It's less efficient, but it doesn't take as long. So, actually, before we go into it, thinking about it, before I get completely off topic, when we had a quick look at some of the AdMech stuff that had been teased on Monday or over the weekend or whenever it was, I made a comment that I was like, I was hoping for more. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of big changes or new units because we haven't seen anything leaked, and that's not on. And you know, if you're an AdMech player, don't expect too much. Really, the chances of actually seeing anything like that would have been incredibly slim on reflection, because let's face it, we've had a couple of really big releases. We've had the Primary stuff and we've had the Death Guard stuff, and there's been a lot of new things for both. The chances of Games Workshop sitting down and creating brand new units for every single faction to be timed with their Codex release, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, and in fact it already hasn't happened considerably, so to expect that is kind of daft. I wasn't saying to expect it, it was more just a little bit of disappointment that we weren't looking at anything kind of brand new and fancy, but given that quite a few other factions haven't had that already, why single out AdMech for that? I don't know. I think really what it comes down to is I've always felt that the actual full vehicle roster for AdMech is a little bit underwhelming, and I'd quite like to see a transport. I mean, whether they actually need one or not is entirely down to, I think, personal opinion. I don't know if they even need one, but it'd be nice to see more variation in terms of the vehicles they can have, or a flyer, largely because I'd love to see what an AdMech flyer actually looks like, given the mental designs of the Dune Crawler and the the giant chicken. I can't remember its name. The Iron Strider, that's it. Don't call it a giant chicken, that's just going to irritate people. Anyway, let's have a look. Shall we have a look at some at some Forge World Dogmas before I just drivel away into just more irrelevant nonsense? Yeah, let's have a look at Mars first. Let's do that, eh? Let's have a look at Mars. Jesus Christ. Okay, so Adeptus Mechanicus armies benefit from a powerful Forge World Dogma equivalent to Legion traits or chapter tactics, which apply to every unit in an Adeptus Mechanicus army, not just your infantry. Mars Forge World Dogma is Glory to the Omniscience, a trait that will make your army very powerful if unpredictable. Sounds good to me. So, Mars, Glory to the Omniscience. In all the Cult Mechanicus, there are no Forge Worlds more holy or more blessed than Mars. The favour of the machine god can be seen in the powerful optimization granted by every static-ridden psalm incanted by his most faithful followers. I love that sentence. That is ridiculous. In the best possible way. Each time you randomly determine which canticle of the Omniscience is being canted, roll 2 dice instead of 1. All units with this dogma receive the benefit of both results, instead of just the result of the first dice. If a duplicate is rolled, no additional canticle is canted this turn. Okay, now, if you don't know what a canticle is, that's not going to mean very much, so I'm going to tell you what a canticle is, just in case. So, it's essentially a one-use army-wide buff that lasts a turn, and using the Mars dogma, you get 2, provided you don't roll the same number twice. And to give like a couple of examples, so let's have a quick look here. So, Chant of the Remorseless Fist, for instance, 1 to 3 units gives rerolls of 1 to hit in close combat, followed by rerolls of 1 and 2 at 4 to 7 units. So it kind of depends on how many units you have, and it changes depending on that, and it's kind of random to begin with. So, as I say, Chant of the Remorseless Fist, with 1 to 3 units, it gives rerolls of 1 to hit in close combat, and that's followed by rerolls of 1 and 2 at 4 to 7 units. So that's one example, and the the other one, let's have a look at what's one that's not too complicated. Okay, so that was in close combat. Another one is Benediction of Omniscience, where if you've got 1 to 3 units, it gives rerolls of 1 to hit while shooting, followed by rerolls of 1 and 2 at 4 to 7 units. So that's what it is. And actually having access to 2 of those sounds pretty damn cool, if I'm honest. It does definitely add to the kind of random element of it, even more so. But I guess in terms of it being Mars, it does kind of make sense. I guess there's more fervour there. There's more desire to do honour to the Omnicia and all of that. So I do like it, but I don't know if it's going to be the most reliable thing in the world. Although, let's face it, just having an extra buff, I don't see how that can be a bad thing. It might be unpredictable, but I can't really see a situation where you're going to be rolling 2 dice, get 2 different results, and go, oh man, that sucks. I don't really see a situation where you're not going to want to do that. There's going to be points where you'll get a canticle that isn't optimal for the situation, but the chances are it'll still do something, I would have thought. So yeah, I don't know. I quite like it. I quite like it. It's going to introduce a nice sort of, as I say, kind of random element to things, even more so than it was before. But yeah, it's good. It's good. They also specifically mentioned Belisarius' Call in reference to Mars. Although the one thing I don't like about this, and I'll just put that on the screen. So Belisarius' Call is perhaps the most venerated tech priest in the whole Imperium, and he makes for a superb leader. Yeah, that's fine. The issue that I have with this is that in the Dark Imperium novel, he wasn't really described or made out to be the most venerated tech priest. It was kind of pointed out that people thought it was pretty heretical, and they're not keen, not really all that keen on old Belisarius' Call. So I don't really like that description of him, but only because it seems a bit at odds to the lore that they've already given. I'm just not sure on that particular sentence. I mean, he certainly knows what he's doing, obviously, because he did the whole Primaris thing, so it's not like he doesn't know what he's on about. But I don't know, that most venerated tech priest is not the impression that I got from the Dark Imperium novel, is all I'm saying. But that's a minor nitpick, and that's only fluff basing on nothing to do with anything else. So take that as you will, take it or leave it. So the Mars Warlord, there's a Mars Warlord trait, which is static psalm code. Using ancient hymn code cant, the Warlord broadcasts with increased power. Blessed is he that walks with the Omnicia. Add 3 inches to the range of any aura abilities on your Warlord's data sheet, such as Lord of the Machine Cult. Well, given that Call has got some nice, tasty aura abilities, that's pretty good. An extra 3 inches is nothing to sniff at in many walks of life, and when it comes to expanding Belisarius' Call's auras, that's nice. It's nice. I like it. I like that a lot. There is, of course, the customary attempt to push a certain line of models, and in this case it is the Corpusari Electro Priests, and they want you to buy those because, as they say, they can throw out a terrifying amount of firepower. A unit of 20 with rerolls to hit from Belisarius' Call being nearby will inflict, on average, a colossal 80 strength 5 hits on any given enemy unit. Combine this with the Wrath of Mars stratagem and you'll deal an additional 13 mortal wounds as well as any other damage. And as he points out, you could probably wreck Magnus or a Renegade Knight with that, so or just a normal Knight too. Just throwing that out there, a non-Renegade Knight. So, Wrath of Mars. None can smite the blasphemer as can those from Mars, for theirs is the most righteous of zeal. All praise the glory of the machine god. I love this. I love it. Use this stratagem before a Mars unit from your army attacks in the shooting phase. Each time you make a wound roll of 6+ for that unit, the target suffers a mortal wound in addition to any other damage. 2 command points. That, I like it. I'm just going to go right there. That seems pretty good. 2 command points, I think, seems fairly reasonable for the chance to throw out a bunch of mortal wounds, especially if you are using a unit that has got as many hits, or at least as many kind of firepower, is what I'm trying to say, as the Electro Priest. I suspect that we'll be seeing the Electro Priest kit in various forms as the week goes on, as they try and shift the backstock of them. I'm just throwing it out there. From what I understand, they weren't massively popular in 7th, and the fact that we are going to be 2 for 2 on recommending these guys to you suggests that we're going to be seeing a lot of them, much like we saw a lot of talk about Terminators when it came to the Chaos Legion traits. Do you like this Legion trait? Well, consider investing in Terminators. It's going to be a similar situation, as we will find out right now when we look at Graia. That's how I'm saying. That's how I'm saying it. Deal with it. Just deal with it. It's up to you. You can either deal with it or not. I suggest you do. Anyway. So, they have their Forge World Dogma, which is refusal to yield. And I do like these. Steely-minded tenacity and the refusal to retreat are more than just character traits of those who serve Graia. Indeed, such qualities are hardwired into all who bear the Forge World symbol. Roll a d6 each time a model with this dogma is slain or flees. On a 6, that model refuses to yield. Either the wound that slurred is ignored, or the model does not flee. However, Forge World units with this dogma cannot fall back unless there is a friendly Forge World character on the battlefield. I mean, it's a kind of another form of feel no pain, disgustingly resilient, resurrection protocol, all the various things that are essentially, oh, that guy's dead, roll a d6, oh no, he's not dead. It is what it is. I do like it. It's not particularly exciting, but I guess it fits the lore of the world. It's one of those things where I like the random element of the Mars dogma more than I like the kind of reliable element of the Graia dogma, and that's just because I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of that stuff that is already existing. There's a lot of that stuff that is already in place, and so when I see it, I'm not like, oh, I'm more just like, oh, okay, they get that. But yeah, it's all right. It's pretty decent. It's not bad. I do like the qualifier on the end though, that the units with this dogma can't fall back unless there's a character on the battlefield. I do like that quite a lot. I think that adds an extra element to it, which makes it a bit more interesting. You'll never guess what some of the best units are for old Graia. Can you guess? Can you guess? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's full Graia Electro Priest. Do you see what I mean? Do you want to pick up some? Do you want to pick up some Electro Priest, please? We've got loads. We made too many and no one bought them. Anyway, so they're already a superb unit. What you've got to do there when you read stuff like that, when it's like in 2 articles, one after the other, they're both mentioning the exact same kit and saying this is why you should buy these. You need to put in your salesman voice. So, Fulgurite Electro Priests are already a superb unit capable of dealing huge damage in assault. You've got to really sell it to the people. And growing in power thanks to Siphon Vigor, bringing them up to a 3+ invulnerable save. With the Graia Dogma, a group of Fulgurite Electro Priests get this save, followed by a second pseudo saving throw from Fanatical Devotion, followed by their final refusal to yield roll. In practice, this means you'll be saving 83% of wounds from normal sources and 50% of mortal wounds. They did the maths, so you don't have to, but I'm pretty sure someone is going to do it anyway, just in case they're talking nonsense. On the face of it, that does actually seem pretty good, and when you tell me that I could be saving 83% of wounds, much like someone trying to sell a dodgy loan, I'm going to be all ears. I can't really find anything to complain about there, and they do get a lovely little command point thingy here. Zealous Congregation. The channeling of inspiring verses of zealotry allows Electro Priests to release the pent-up energy within them. 3 command points. Use this stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Select an Electro Priest unit from your army. That unit can immediately fight for a second time. Excellent. Excellent. So they can fight for a second time. They've got a nice bit of resilience there, and well, a bit of resilience, refusal to yield. I'm not going to lie, it kind of sounds pretty cool. How it'll work in practice is another matter entirely, but for 3 command points, having a unit fight a second time, that's not bad. I do like that. Ah, man. I'd hate to say it, but I think I actually agree with them on both of the unit choices, even though it's just the same kit both times. I don't want to, because it's, let's face it, it's funnier to go, are you trying to sell us some of those, are you? But I don't know, it seems kind of legit, so okay, so they then move on to talk about the Skitarii Vanguard, and they point out that usually the Vanguard must choose between firing with their weapons or weakening enemies with rad saturation, but with emotionless clarity allowing them to shoot into combat, you won't have to. I threw that in for effect. So, their Forge World trait, as you can see, Graia, look, just that's how it's been pronounced, take it. Emotionless clarity. With a mind blissfully unsullied by the passions common to flesh, the Warlord can take perfect aim, even under the most intense pressures. Models in friendly Graia units within 6 inches of your Warlord can shoot with assault and rapid-fire weapons, even if there are enemy units within 1 inch of their own unit, but only if they target the closest enemy unit. In such circumstances, the model can shoot even if other friendly units are within 1 inch of the same enemy unit. Oh my god, that's long and mildly complicated, but it is actually pretty good, because as they pointed out, Jesus, it's gone dark, essentially you can make them shoot into combat. That's nice, that's good. Shoot into combat, then charge in if you want to. Nothing to complain about there, I don't think. I think that sounds pretty good. Yeah, so far, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. It feels fluffy in as much as I don't have a huge amount of knowledge on AdMech stuff. I don't know much about Forge Worlds individually. I know what they are, but I don't know much about the individual attitude of different Forge Worlds and the role they play in the greater supply and demand of the Imperium. But they're selling me on it. As someone who doesn't have previous experience with AdMech, they are selling me on this stuff, and it seems pretty decent. I'm not looking at this and going, well, that's clearly not as good as, like, I don't know, something from Space Marines or Death Guard or Chaos or whatever. I'm not sitting there going, that seems really weak compared to the stuff that we've seen for other factions. So, yeah, it looks like they're doing okay so far. Although this is just making me want to dig more into AdMech, which means I'm going to lose a massive amount of time getting lost in various wiki-style websites and watching other people's videos, so that's going to be fun. Who needs to do work when you can just watch lore videos all goddamn day? Anyway, that is the Forge World stuff for Graia and Mars. They both look pretty cool. I have to admit I like the random element of Mars a little bit more, and I think I kind of prefer the mass shooting power of the Electro Priests, or at least the Electro Priest stuff combined with the Wrath of Mars stuff, although obviously that is going to be applicable to other units as well, not just them, even though they have suggested them. Although, I will say that the idea of firing into combat is also very tasty from Graia. So yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Once again, I think they're doing a pretty decent job. They are selling me on a faction that I previously didn't have much interest in, so well done to them, you horrible people trying to make me spend money. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at the, well, whatever else comes out between now and Friday, we will take a look at, because that's what we do here. If you like the video, then like it, all of that stuff. There's also things all over the screen to click, Patreon, subscribe, other videos. Click them if you like, don't click them if you don't want to. It's your life, I'm not going to tell you how to live. And I will see you for the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Toodaloo.